Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Sterling Fox on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program. We're talking retirement living with Jillian Fullerton from Shannon Oaks in East Vancouver, and also with Alma Battersby, who lives at Shannon Oaks and Baptist Housing in East Vancouver. Alma, you've been there for close to 9 years.
That's correct.
So, and you were lucky because you were one of those seniors who made the conscious decision on her own that okay, I think I'm going to move to a seniors retirement community now. You're a retired teacher. You had a terrific life. You had a great family. And at that point in your life when you decided, I think I'm going to move on to the next level now, off you went.
That's true.
And that's very different, as Jillian has already pointed out, from a large percentage of people who end up at Shannon Oaks, but who may have been, shall we say, helped kindly or pushed, not so much, by others who recognize that for whatever reason, and there are usually several, that person really should be moving to Shannon Oaks.
That's
so
correct.
When you watch all of these people, and you've been doing it for 9 years, all these newbies coming into Shannon Oaks
Right.
year after year, it must be fun to watch the transformation from awkward first day at school blues to a fully fledged resident, eh?
You're speaking to a former teacher.
I know that. I know. That's why I use the first day at school metaphor, because that's what it's like. No matter how old you are, your first day in any new environment feels like you're 6 and at your first day of school again.
Yeah, that's the way I felt today.
Oh! Well, so far you're doing great, and there's no detentions in the
Thank
office.
you. Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that.
All right.
She was a principal, too.
Oh, okay. Tell us a little bit about the transformation that you've observed over the years of people coming in.
Well, for myself, it was easy. I mean, I'm a friendly person. I can reach out to people easily. That's not the case with everybody.
Sure.
And you see people that they're lost, they're wandering around, like, how do I get to the dining room, you know, and the staff is very helpful, there to help them. But I didn't feel that way. I think to have a friend, you have to be a friend, and I'm a friendly person. And I didn't have that trouble, but there are lots of people there that I know feel, well, not isolated, because that's impossible, but they feel that they've lost something that was precious to them, and they haven't found enough to replace it early on.
Right.
But if there's so many activities offered there in every vein, exercise and music and entertainment and food.
Right.
And I mean, they gradually get on to the idea that, hey, this is a happy situation. Let's make the most of it.
One of the big concerns, and certainly that I've heard from seniors who are having, and I should tell you, my mom's 92 in a few weeks, and still living on her own. But my brother and I have had these conversations, and I've shared it with Jillian in the past. And she's just not interested. Thank you very much. And one of the reasons, in my mom's case, is because she's the opposite of you. She's that withdrawn, quiet, shy person who really is, it takes a while for her to come out of her shell and mix in with the larger group. She's not good at that. But the thing that I keep hearing that she keeps throwing up at my brother and me is loss of independence. If I surrender to these people, then my life is gone. They're going to tell me what to do for every waking minute of the rest of my life, and I'm not interested. And I say, Mom, I don't think you've got a good fix on what life in a seniors community is all about. Help me out here, Alma.
Well, you're correct, because you can be your own. You can be in your apartment. You can be involved in some of the activities. You can go out. You can stay home. You can sleep. You can not sleep.
You go on vacation.
You could go on vacation. True. Good idea.
Right.
But no, you can be yourself, and you're not tied to anything there, except you better show up for meals if you care to eat.
Right.
You know. But outside of that, really, I don't find any restrictions on my life at all.
Right.
Now that's me, and I'm an extrovert, so I mean that helps.
But the fact is that if they're going to have a multiplicity of offerings of activities each and every day, that's hardly a forfeiture of independence if you go, well, I might like to go to the mall with the gang this afternoon on the minibus. That'd be kind of fun. And we're going to go to the casino on Friday night. That'll be kind of fun too. I mean, this is hardly sitting in your room staring at the four walls now, isn't it?
No. You have lots of opportunities to enjoy yourself and to interact with other people. If you like to play bridge or you like to play crib or whatever you like to do, it's available there. And take part in it. And I understand some people that are hesitant to join in. But gradually, I mean, when you see everybody else around you having a good time, you kind of want to do it too.
Well, that's true. And it's the ambiance, isn't it, Jillian? That's Shannon Oaks is legendary for.
Oh,
it's this incredible, warm place to be.
Welcome home. We have a sign at the entrance.
Right.
Welcome home.
And beautiful gardens. If you like to garden, you can be a gardener there.
Right.
You know, it's a very lovely residence, truly.
What we do have, Shannon Sterling at Shannon Oaks, is we do have, and since I've come on, a position that was created called a wellness coordinator.
Okay.
And Beth is the wellness coordinator. And Beth will take a resident that's moved in and go through an orientation process with her. Escort them to meals, introduce them to different people, find out which table is the best one to sit at for different meals, see what their interests are, and tie them into other people. She does an excellent job with this. And sort of, if we notice that a person isn't really joining in, I'll say something to Beth. I'll say, Beth, maybe you should have a visit with so-and-so. But she's Beth Brubaker. She's does a marvelous job. She's a registered nurse, but it's not that she's doing. She's more or less making sure that there's wellness in that person's life. So your mom, for example, if she were more reticent and wanting to stay in her room, Beth would be there encouraging her with the activity calendar, saying, why don't you go to the bus trip? They're going to, Oak Ridge this weekend.
Right.
Why don't you go to the Oak Ridge? Or they're going down to a play here. I understand you like plays, or something like that.
Right.
She'd be encouraging her. She would, maybe get a person who is like interests coordinated with her.
So it's kind of using as they do in a lot of sports, including scuba diving, using the buddy system.
Yes.
You get you when you move in, if someone who is like-minded, perhaps has similar life experiences, a little more outgoing, could sort of seek you out. And have you ever been assigned to Alma to be a meet and greet type person and help someone become adjusted to life at Shannon Oaks?
Not at Shannon Oaks, but I can't say I haven't had that opportunity other places, but Beth does an excellent job, and the residents at Shannon Oaks are friendly with newcomers. I mean, they always introduce themselves, or it's friendly that way with other residents. There's a good aura.
You'll find that when a tour is being conducted, if you're a member of a tour and being shown around, residents come up voluntarily and say, I love it here. Been here for so many years and I love it. Should move in. I mean, they just come up and introduce
spontaneous
themselves.
testimonials.
Oh, yes. I'm going, whoa, that was rather nice.
Well, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
Talk to us a little. One thing that you mentioned when you were talking about your background, 20 years plus in the seniors retirement community business, Jillian. You said, I worked for high-end operations and medium operations and then affordable operations.
Yes.
Those are the three terms, economic terms that you use. Which of those three would Shannon Oaks fall under?
Well, there's sort of a hybrid. It's probably in the mid-range.
Okay.
But getting more toward the high. But for Vancouver, it's definitely mid-range. It's one of them, definitely a mid-range for the Vancouver area.
Okay.
We have a lot of high-end in Vancouver.
Yes, we do.
And they are very expensive. I will say some of the high-end do have high turnovers, too, of staff. And that is not a good indicator when moving in. Shannon Oaks staff is a happy staff. I think I've mentioned it.
You have.
Just, it makes a huge difference. But Shannon Oaks has positioned itself to offer, I would say, high-end services at not affordable, but at the mid-range price.
More moderately priced.
More moderately priced.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Alma, you told me before we started that one of the things that you value about Shannon Oaks is the fact that there is very little staff turnover. There's that gang that looks after you and all of your fellow residents in that community is consistently there with a smile on their face day after day, year after year. And that's kind of remarkable, isn't it?
That's very true. And I mean, you get to know them personally.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they know your
Yeah.
name, you know their name, they know your likes, your dislikes, etc. And it's a very friendly place that way. The cleaning staff the same. You get to know them. They know your little idiosyncrasies and act on them, and it's great. It's really great.
Right, and while we're on the subject of definitions, if you don't mind, Jillian,
Yeah.
tell us about the types of facilities that there are. There's supported living, there's independent living, there's assisted living. There's all sorts of different terms that we boomers, trying to do well
Yes.
on behalf of our parents, are a little, well, mystified by, because it doesn't help that some organizations use different terms for the same things either.
Exactly.
So tell us about Shannon Oaks and which of those categories this community is.
You are not alone in being mystified.
Good.
There are legions behind you and ahead. Shannon Oaks is independent living.
Okay.
Another name for it is supportive housing.
Okay.
Okay, so the supports are there to keep you independent for longer. That's what support means. Shannon Oaks offers the support such as nutritious meals, activities to keep you going, 24-hour emergency response.
Sure.
All of those things that keep you vibrant and independent for longer. So that's what's called supportive housing or independent living.
Right.
I prefer the term independent living with the supports there, but the difference is that a lot of different municipalities will call them different terms.
I know.
Too.
They're just not in the least bit helpful, which is why it's fun on Boomer Life when we have these opportunities to talk about retirement communities, to at least give boomers, us, a chance to figure out what the heck we're talking about. Because we've seen in the last 20 years, and Alma, you're a resident now for the last 9 or 10, but in the last 20 years, the seniors retirement community industry has it just flourished in British Columbia.
Absolutely.
20 years ago, the number of retirement community options in the city was way less than half of what it is today.
Oh,
True,
yes.
very true.
Very true. Yeah. But there is Shannon Oaks. We also have a site right adjacent to it called Clarendon Court.
Right, and that's the original. That's the 50-year-old
That's
building,
right.
isn't
That's
it?
right.
Right.
And that offers assisted living.
Okay.
Assisted living is when residents need help with maybe bathing and dressing, maybe med supervision,
Right.
maybe some queuing, that kind of thing. That is assisted living. So that involves some care. So that's our residents ideally can move to that. It's a separate building, but there is a walkway that attaches it.
And it's all part of the same complex.
It's all sort of
So
the
if
same complex.
and you already moved once, haven't you? You moved from your original suite into the new wing that you got to cherry pick the best apartment of.
Well, yes.
Yes, well, there you go. So is that something that you're thinking about, Alma, as you're a very practical sounding woman who's been obviously thinking carefully about this for a very long time? Is that something else that you contemplate, is the fact that if there is another layer of assistance of some degree required, it's right there. It's right next door.
Well, if that should happen and it's available, I have no reason why I wouldn't take advantage of it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not thinking that way at
No,
present.
you're a pretty vigorous person, I must say.
But I if the opportunity was there, I certainly would take advantage of it.
Right. Have you ever, I mean, again, because you're such an outgoing person, and when you have conversations with new people who are coming in, and I can see that you would be that sort of person who would just sort of go over and start talking to someone in an attempt to make them feel even a little bit more comfortable about their new life. What do people tell you about who are feeling a little awkward about being there, and maybe feel that they've been pushed into something that they didn't have as much say in as you did when you decided for yourself to go there?
That doesn't happen too often. Most of the questions I get are, where is, how do you get to,
Right.
that sort of things.
Right, of course.
There are a few people that express their unhappiness.
Right.
And they're generally the type that would be unhappy pretty well anywhere.
That's true.
You know,
That's
they
the key.
like I can remember one incident where I said, "Oh, hi, my name's Alma, and I know they're a new resident. How are you doing?" "Well, if you're in pain all the time, you know." I mean, she was more concerned with her disabilities or her aches and pains than she was with anything else.
Uh-huh.
I know who you're speaking of.
Yeah, I know you do. But generally speaking, you get a nice response, but not too many people tell you about their troubles and woes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think they feel that's deep, you know, and they don't want to share them.
Right. Do you
But
see a lot?
She did. She wanted to share them.
But Alma's right on that basis. A person, if they see the glass half empty,
Yes.
are not suddenly going to change. And when they move into Shannon Oaks and see it as being half full,
Right.
they're going to be the half empty type of person. And we realize that, and we try and work with it. And the families, you know, if they have a mom who is, you know, half empty, know that she's not going to change, or dad.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't always focus on mom. But the nature of the beast is that's what it is.
Right.
And so we work with that when they're in there. And there are people that will continually see the glass as half empty.
Sure.
And had to be really encouraged, you know, to, you know, move into
Of course, they would see that if they were home.
I was just going to
Yes,
say,
exactly.
regardless
You
of
know,
where they
it's
are.
not,
Yeah.
it's not the atmosphere that's
Yeah.
changing them. It's they're unchangeable.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
that,
right.
It's that little cloud they carry over their head.
Yes.
and that's hard. That's hard for adult children to live with.
It
you
is,
know, I
it
mean,
is.
it's their own.
Well, it's a
difficulty.
tough enough process, particularly if there's some frailty or medical issue going on that really
Yeah.
compels a move into a
Yeah.
seniors community. If the parent involved is really fighting vigorously in a very negative way, perhaps against the inevitable, especially if there's frailty involved, it just makes the job on the part of the boomer kids even twice as difficult.
And if they wait too long, mom won't be accepted in an independent living community
Right.
because she'll be beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be needing care at that point. Once she needs the care aspect, I mean, we are very cognizant of that now. We're sort of looking at as our residents age and their health needs increase. We're saying, okay, we've got to really focus on trying to bring in some younger folk that are able to, younger, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at 75, you know, maybe
That's
hopefully
younger.
70.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know, in terms of just bringing in folk that are you know, got some energy and aspects of their life they want to, you know, live out some more and,
Sure.
and enjoy life more.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking to that. And so people with health concerns, they would have a hard time. They would be challenged.
I would think so. We need
Yeah.
to take a quick break here. By the way, the website for Shannon Oaks, it's not ShannonOaks.com, friends. We do this to you every time. It's BaptistHousing.org.
.org.
And Baptist Housing provides accommodations to thousands of people all over British Columbia. And if you go to BaptistHousing.org, you'll see all of those communities all over the province. And then you just click on Shannon Oaks and you're inside. It's
That's
just
right.
that fast. We have a 2-minute break here. BaptistHousing.org. That's your assignment. We have the teacher in the studio here. There will be a test. We'll be right back.
It's all about the baby boomer lifestyle. Boomer Life on AM 650.